I'm standing right outside what is the office of the International Cricket Council. That quite recognizable logo that you can see behind me is there, and from this very building the entire community of international cricket is run. This is where also the chairman of International Cricket Council, at the moment an Indian, in Jay Shah, also sits. So this is the spot from where international cricket is run. But today what I'm going to do is give you the background of International Cricket Council, and it is a very interesting story. Let me take you back all the way to 1909, more than 100 years ago. That's when International Cricket Council, no, ICC was formed, because it wasn't called International Cricket Council, it was called an Imperial Cricket Conference. That was its first name in 1909. It was made by predominantly 3 countries, South Africa, England and Australia. By 1965, and that's a big, almost 6 decades later, the name changed from Imperial Cricket Conference to International Cricket Conference. Slight change, still not the Cricket Council that we know as it is, because more and more countries started joining the international community of cricket, and so from Imperial the word changed to International. Then you go all the way to 1987, and that's where you get the present name International Cricket Council. So that was coined in 1987. So for more than 100 years this office continued to be there in London, but in 2005 it moved to Dubai, the International Cricket Council office. And that's also a very interesting story, and India played an important role in that happening. In fact, one Indian who played a very important role in moving that office from there to here, his name was Jagmohan Dalmia. Now, Jagmohan Dalmia first contested the election for the International Cricket Council's chairmanship in 1996. What he had started doing just before that is trying to garner votes of the Asian bloc. He knew that if an Indian had to be the head of the International Cricket Council, he needed a lot of votes, and for that he knew that England and Australia and so on and so forth, those countries are always going to oppose India's chairmanship. They never wanted India to be at the helm of the international body of cricket. So what did he start doing? He started getting close and getting boards in Asia like Pakistan, like Sri Lanka, closer to India, so that when the voting happens he can get those many votes. And he also then got South Africa, which had been banned for apartheid, played a stellar role in them coming back into international cricket. The first ever international match they played, 1990, happened in Kolkata. Jagmohan Dalmia was in the center of it. All he was doing was trying to build those votes that he needed to be the ICC chairman. But when he stood for election in 1996, he won those elections fair and square, 25 to 13, 25 votes in his favor, 13 against him. So you thought he had won everything, but therein England and Australia together saw a technicality. They didn't want an Indian to be there. They saw a technicality and they pointed that out, saying that, listen, you may have won the overall vote, but there's also a technicality. You must have 2/3 of the vote of the regular test playing nations. Those days there used to be 9 test playing nations, and I'm afraid at that time Jagmohan Dalmia did not have 2/3 votes from those regular test playing nations. Today ICC looks after cricket in 110 nations. I know a lot of you just watch cricket for 7, 8, 10 countries, but remember there are affiliated boards in 110 countries, and 12 are permanent members, the test playing nations, and all of those come under this office. But I'm talking about 1996, there were 9 regular test playing nations. 2/3 majority Jagmohan Dalmia could not garner. Then he didn't give up. Next year again he stood for election, and this time he ensured that he had the enough votes overall as well as within the 9 test playing nations, and he became the first ever Indian to become the chairman of the ICC. But the Western Bloc, especially England, Australia, weren't really happy with it. They tried their level best then to humiliate Jagmohan Dalmia. I'll quote a couple of instances that happened at that time. Firstly, there was a headline in an English newspaper when Jagmohan Dalmia became the chairman of ICC. first ever Indian to do so. It said dirty hands now control international cricket. They made a reference to dirty hands, saying that this is a man who's considered to be power hungry and is always, thinking about money, running after money. He's in charge of ICC, so dirty hands take control. But that didn't deter Jagmohan Dalmia. From there on, there's a press conference that Jagmohan Dalmia did, his first ever press conference as ICC boss. He was humiliated there as well, where there was a English administrator of the ICC sitting next to him in the press conference, and he told the media before the first question could be asked, no, don't ask him any questions, ask me, because he's not comfortable in English and he may not even understand your action, so I'll try and answer your questions. So these were the things that Jagmohan Dalmia had to go through to fight England and Australia to control international cricket. But as I said, he never gave up. The other thing that was done to him, in those days the office was in England. There was no cabin for the chairman of the ICC in the ICC office in London. All the ICC chairman could do is probably on some days share the table with the ICC CEO, who had his own cabin there in London. And Jagmohan Dalmia said, no, this cannot be done. He gave an ultimatum to the CEO, either build a cabin for me, for the chairman here, or you'll have to come every day to my hotel where I stay in London whenever I'm here, sit in the reception and wait for me. I'll come down every day, give you notes, and then you have to do, because you're an employee paid by the ICC and I had the ICC. Only when that ultimatum was given did they make a cabin for the ICC chairman as well. So Jagmohan Dalmia continued his fight against ICC, continued against this sort of racism, in that sense that Indians had to face when they were trying to help the International Cricket Council. But when he left the ICC, he left them richer by a huge margin. Now sample this. When Jagmohan Dalmia took over the ICC presidentship, the bank balance of ICC read £16,000. That's all that there was in the coffers of the ICC, £16,000. When Jagmohan Dalmia left the ICC bank balance was £17 million. That's how much ICC or international cricket in that sense benefited from the leadership of Jagmohan Dalmia. So that's the interesting background, that's the interesting story of how International Cricket Council came about. And then later in 2005, well after Jagmohan Dalmia had left the chairmanship, the office was also shifted, because India slowly and steadily started taking control of international cricket. The office was shifted from London to Dubai for two primary reasons. One, of course, because the UK government wasn't ready to give any sort of tax exemption. Dubai welcomed International Cricket Council with open arms, allowing them a tax-free haven, so they decided to move the office here. And secondly, also International Cricket Council by that time realized the future of cricket is in Asia, it's run by Asia, that's where the game is most popular, that's where the moolah also comes from. So these two reasons ensured that in 2005, for more than 100 years it was in London, and then the last 2 decades the office has moved here. Today, as we stand, about 80% of the revenue that ICC makes comes from India through Indian companies, Indian sponsorship, and India then takes away the lion's share of the earnings of ICC, roughly around 38.5%. So that's how much Indian cricket has moved from the time in 1909, where it wasn't even part of the erstwhile ICC, to now running the show, so to say. Nikhil Naz in Dubai.